What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we have an awesome video. We're going to do a tier list. I don't do tier lists very often. I typically rank top 10s, things of that nature, but tier lists can be fun because I don't have to necessarily put everybody in exact order. I can lump them together and it just kind of makes things a little easier on me, but I can give you a general idea of how I feel about a larger, quantity of topics. Today we want to look at horror movie villains, you can call them icons if you want. Some of these are absolutely icons. Some of them maybe not so much. That's what we're going to talk about today. We've got 5 tiers. At the very, very top, we've got the GOAT tier. Now, I only allow myself to put 4 people in the GOAT tier so that I can't have 15 GOATs. As much as I want to put half of these people up there because I love a lot of these characters, I can only put 4 at the very top, the GOATs, the Mount Rushmore, if you will. Just below that is the Hall of Fame tier. Now you notice these have sort of football connotations. I'm juiced up for football. We have a draft coming up this weekend. Very excited about that. Everybody's talking about football. These are going to be football related. So the Hall of Fame tier, these were people that were certainly in consideration for the GOAT status. Maybe they're not there yet, or maybe they're just not quite to that level of those GOATs. They could get there eventually, maybe, possibly, if they're still making movies. Or, they're going to be comfortably in this second tier and they're okay with that. Either way, it's a good spot to be. The Kirk Cousins tier.
You like that? You like that?
If you're a football fan, you understand. Kirk Cousins has long been the benchmark of mediocrity. If you wait until the 12th round to take a quarterback in your fantasy league, you know that Kirk Cousins is going to be there waiting for you and he's going to put up okay statistics. These people in this tier, don't take offense to it. Some of these are my favorite killers, and they're going to put up a great showing most of the time. Sometimes it's not so good. But anyway, right smack in the middle, the Kirk Cousins tier, it's pretty solid. Sometimes good, sometimes it may be shit. You know what you're getting. The solid backups tier.
I'm a backup.
Okay, you say that like you're proud.
Backup QB is the best position in sports. Fact, I get drunk all the time. And it's just like being a real QB, but without all the pain.
I might not necessarily want to carry an entire franchise, but they could come in for a game. They could come in for a movie. They could do a movie really well. I probably don't want to see 7, 8, 9 of these, but they're a really solid backup. Not bad, tolerable. And then we've got Riding Pine. These are the people that probably shouldn't have got their own movie. And now that it exists, I'm okay with the one and done. Just ride Pine. Park your ass at the end of the bench. We don't want you in the game anymore. So let's go ahead and get started with a great one. We have Pinhead, played by the great Doug Bradley. Now this is not really my cup of tea. Even as old as I am, I was around for all of these movies. The Hellraiser franchise just wasn't really something that I got into. I've seen the original. I've seen, I believe, the second one, but that's about it. So I'm probably not the best, person to rate this guy. For some people, he may easily be in the GOAT status. It feels disrespectful to put him anywhere other than in the Hall of Fame tier, though. Even though he's not my bag, I know Doug Bradley played this dude in, I believe, 8 of the 11 movies. That's pretty ridiculous. So the fact that he has 11 movies must be doing something right. Pinhead, definitely a Hall of Famer. Not my GOAT. But he's right up there. We've got, what is this, Bagul from Sinister. This was a great movie. Scientifically speaking, the scariest movie. They hooked a bunch of people up to heart monitors, had them watch a bunch of the scariest movies of all time, and Sinister consistently tested near the top or at the top for pretty much everybody. So this is a terrifying movie. I don't know that it's necessarily because of Bagul. He has a pretty unique look. I like that his mouth's kind of like gone or shown shut or whatever. But the movie itself is really scary. It makes him pretty memorable. I'm not going to put him in the Hall of Fame. Let's put him in the Kirk Cousins tier because I don't want to put him in solid backups. That feels disrespectful to the movie, but I can't put him in the Hall of Fame. Certainly not a GOAT. He's okay. Bagul, we're going to put you in the Kirk Cousins tier. You're probably not going to stay at the very top. Again, the tiers, the order in the tiers, it is going to matter for me. I'm going to try to put the ones that I feel are better towards the front. So again, Bagul could slide his way, towards the back and be towards the end of the Kirk Cousins tier. you find yourself at the beginning of the Kirk Cousins tier, you know, you're pretty damn good. You're almost Hall of Famer. We got the Nun. You're going to see it's not that I'm not into supernatural. Most of these people have some sort of supernatural element to them. A lot of them do, at least. But I'm not super duper duper into like ghost specter figures, things like the Nun. Let's put her in solid backup. She showed up in The Conjuring. She was memorable enough to have her own movie. I have only seen the first one. It was okay. I think the second one is okay too. My wife and my young son watched them. He's only 7, so it didn't scare him too much. So must not be that bad. I'm gonna put him in a solid backup. The Xenomorph. Most of the Alien movies are not horror movies, but that very first one is definitely a horror movie, just like the very first Terminator. Probably should have had the Terminator on this list, but I don't believe he's going to make an appearance. But the very first Terminator is absolutely a horror movie. Very first Alien is a horror movie. Terrifying. The Xenomorph, because you only had one movie really to be super duper duper scary, I don't know that I could put you in Hall of Fame. Let's put you at the very front of the Kirk Cousins tier. It's not that you're not a GOAT, it's not that you're not amazing, but on the horror icon tier list, you only really have that one opening showing. Romulus wasn't really that scary, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna put you here, Kirk Cousins tier, pretty damn solid. Norman Bates, freaking Hall of Famer, baby. Well, a lot of us wouldn't be sitting here talking about horror movies if it wasn't for Norman Bates. The dude is, look at that, terrifying. He's just a man, but that's what makes him scary. He is off his freaking rocker nuts. One of the best twists in movie history. You know, some of the best scenes, shots in movie history come from this movie. Respect to one of the OGs, Norman Bates. Pennywise, again, I love the Tim Curry version. Not super scary for me, but still iconic. Bill Skarsgård, I think, did a better job of being creepy. But Pennywise, his big Achilles heel is that if you're not afraid of him, he loses his power. So I don't know that I want to put him in the Hall of Fame tier. Let's put him in the Kirk Cousins tier. We'll put him just above the Xenomorph, because certainly when he wants to be scary, if you are afraid of him, like the children that he's going after, very, very effective. Very effective. Potentially up here. We'll see where it stands. These are subject to change. The list may evolve as we kind of go forward, but for now, Kirk Cousins tier. Jaws. Again, really only one great movie. The first one is great, and then you kind of get depreciating returns as you move down. I think that 4 might be better than 3. That's a conversation to have, but for the most part, not super duper scary. Iconic, great, but man, it just feels so disrespectful. But we're gonna put Jaws. Let's put Jaws right above the Xenomorph, but behind Pennywise. That doesn't feel too bad. So we'll put Jaws there. Captain Spaulding. Sid, RIP, man. We miss you. You're fans. We love you. I'd love to throw you up here. I can't do that. Let's put you in the Hall of Fame tier. I don't want to put you above my man. And again, I'm not a huge Pinhead fan, so I'm going to put you there. Let's put you right there in the Hall of Fame tier. For those of you who do like Rob Zombie movies, you know, I like some of his movies. I don't like all of his movies. But there's no denying Captain Spaulding was memorable, hilarious, creepy, scary. If you can beat all of those things, I'm a big fan. There are several characters on this list that have the ability to make you laugh and scare you at the same time. It's a very unique quality, but it always gets bonus points for me. Hall of Fame tier, Captain Spaulding. That's an easy one. The Predator. Is the Predator really a horror character? Not really, but it felt weird to not have him on the list if I had the Xenomorph. So I'm going to put Predator as a solid backup, you know, because he's not really a horror character. But if he had to come in and back up his buddy, he'd do a decent job. Solid backup, Predator. Leprechaun. Leprechaun. The Leprechaun is a tough one for me because again, I grew up watching all of these movies. I do love cheesy horror, and these movies are some of the cheesiest. I mean, he goes to space. He's one of the first people to go to space. He's certainly not a Hall of Famer. He's certainly not a GOAT. I don't want to put him in the solid backup, though, because that just feels disrespectful to Warwick Davis and the character. I think that he did a really good job of what he was supposed to do. Let's put him right here in the front of the Kirk Cousins tier. You know, he's like the head of the B team. I like that. I don't dislike that at all. All right, who do we got now? Oh, Patrick Bateman. Now, I am a big fan of American Psycho. I will tackle this movie eventually. I do love American Psycho. I think this is one of the first movies, that I saw this man in character, like literally become another character. So huge fan of this movie. But where do we rank him? He's not a GOAT, not a Hall of Famer. So you know what? I don't think that it's disrespectful to put him in the solid backup area. I love the movie, but it's only the one movie, and we don't even know if it really happened or not. So, if he had to step in, I mean, look, he's got his bat, he's ready. He's going to bury this axe right in your head. So, if he had to step in, he's going to be a really solid person to step in. But I don't really know how he ranks up against all these other guys. Ghostface is another difficult one for me because I absolutely adore these movies. I adore the character because he can be anyone. I love what he can be, but the design is just kind of boring. It's just a black suit with a white mask. So again, it's really tough. It's really tough. I want to put him in the Hall of Fame because it's Ghostface. You know what? Let's do it. We're going to put Ghostface in the Hall of Fame just ahead of Pinhead. I love these movies. They are absolutely amazing movies. I feel good about that. It feels wrong to put Ghostface anywhere else because he is iconic, whether I feel like the design could be a little bit better. I don't know, maybe again, the simplicity. There is something to be said about simplicity, so I can't really, I guess, rip it too much apart. So yeah, Hall of Fame, Ghostface, I'm okay with that. The Thing, from John Carpenter's The Thing. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I am a huge fan of this movie. It is my favorite horror movie of all time. The only thing that really holds The Thing back is the fact that it does not have an iconic look because it changes it changes its look throughout the movie. But it is one of the most iconic horror monsters of all time. So this is easy. Hall of Fame tier. Is it a GOAT? Maybe. For me, it might be. For the casual fan, maybe not. So I'm going to put it right here. Hall of Fame. Top of the Hall of Fame class for now. Super solid. Angela from Sleepaway Camp may have one of the most, if not the most iconic sequence in horror movie history. It's captured right here in the still shot. You know what I'm talking about. Cult classic status. Is that enough to get into the Hall of Fame? Probably not. We're not going to put you in the Hall of Fame for one really good showing, but you are absolutely memorable. You deserve some recognition. Let's put you right here with Patrick Bateman. I'll put you above Patrick Bateman even in the solid backups. Angela will come in and she will fuck your world up. So she's a solid backup. She's as good as it comes. I'm okay with that. I like that actually. All right, Jigsaw, my man John Kramer. We finally got back to showing a lot of John Kramer on screen in Saw 10, and I think that was a really good choice for the franchise. I think that they regret killing him off. so quickly. You know, in Saw 3, they kill him off. Then we have all of these other movies. They have to find inventive ways to get him back in the movie. So let's just go back and we'll put him, make him the main character in Saw 10. I actually think it worked really well. John Kramer is creepy and unsettling because he sees himself the villain. Or I'm sorry, the hero. He is the villain, but he sees himself the hero in his own story. He thinks that what he's doing is good. He's helping these people, and there are people like you know, Amanda that believe it, that believe into the bullshit that he is not a killer, but he's absolutely a killer. He's one of the best because he forces these people to kill themselves in horrific ways. Absolutely a Hall of Famer. Let's put you right up here above my man Sid. Love the Saw movies. Most of them are pretty solid. Some of them, you know, I skip, but for the most part, it's a pretty consistent franchise for me. So I definitely love Saw. Pamela Voorhees, Mrs. Voorhees, the famed killer of the original Friday the 13th. Some people think that she is, in fact, scarier than her baby boy. And in some ways, they might be right. There is something unsettling about a mom who loses her mind and goes to try to exact revenge for her son. You know, it's understandable. It's sympathetic even. So while she goes to some extremes and, you know, ends up murdering a bunch of people, I think a lot of moms would get that and maybe even act in a similar fashion given her situation. So, but is she a GOAT? She's not the GOAT. She's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't even know that I'd put her in the Kirk Cousins tier, again, because she only has the one appearance, doesn't really appear on screen, very long because it is a mystery. And once the mystery is solved, the movie doesn't even have that much rewatchability. I'll be honest with you, I only watch the original Friday the 13th, you know, every couple of years. Even then, you know, if I'm doing a binge in the movies, I usually skip it. Sorry, I usually skip it. So then once you know the mystery, it's not that great of a movie. So let's put, she's not riding Pine. She will not be the first person to ride Pine, but I am going to put her at the bottom of the solid backups. I'm sorry. You can cry disrespect. I'm sorry, but she's just going to be right here. I'm not going to have her. I certainly would want to see her in another movie. So she's nothing more than just a solid backup to her baby boy who did everything just a little bit better. Next we got Cujo. I can't get behind a dog villain. I'm not gonna root for a dog villain. Riding Pine, get it away from me. What's it doing? What's it doing here? So no, I think the movie works if that's your bag. I don't want to root against a dog. I don't want to be happy when the dog gets terminated. So no thank you. Riding Pine. All right, anyway. So let's go from something that I never want to see to something that I will watch any day of the week. Ash Williams is absolutely a Hall of Famer, first ballot. I love the Evil Dead movies. If you know anything about me, you know that I love horror and I love comedy. And if you can put those things together and make me laugh and scare me, you've got me. And if there's any franchise that did it the best, it's probably the Evil Dead franchise. The first one is legitimately pretty scary. The second one, sort of a retelling of the first movie, but they add a lot more of the humor that the franchise would come to be known for. And for a lot of people, this is the best one. It's one of my favorites. And then part 3 is absolutely ridiculous. So much so that I didn't even realize it was part of the same franchise until I got much, much older. But anyway, Ash Williams is a legend, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's not too many easier selections than that one right there. All right, next we got Reagan. We got Pazuzu, or whatever it was called, from The Exorcist. I have to be honest with you, I didn't see this movie as a child. I watched it much later in my life. Once people kept telling me it's the scariest movie, it's the scariest movie, it's the scariest movie. It's really scary. But I think that had I seen it when I was younger, it might have registered a little bit harder for me. But there is no denying that for a lot of people, this is as good as it gets. I can't not put it somewhere near the top of the list. It's not a GOAT for me, but it is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Again, I'm going to put it back here with my man Doug Bradley as a Hall of Famer. not my bag. It's a solid movie. It's a really, really solid movie. There are parts of it that still can get a feeling out of me. But again, I kind of missed the ball with that a little bit. Never watched it as a kid. Probably should have. But no denying, it's one of the Hall of Famers for sure. Annie Wilkins from Misery. She is unsettling. Super unsettling in a way that can't be described unless you've seen the movie. But she only shows up the one time. She's really only a threat to this guy because she's obsessed with him. So, solid backup. She's a solid backup. I mean, she is, again, relentless in her her methods. When you've seen the movie, you understand the lengths that she will go to get what she wants. But just a one and done character. I don't know that it would work in a franchise. Solid backup, right there. Megan. No thanks. No thanks. Movie's okay. I didn't hate the movie. I just don't know why it exists. I don't think that it really broke down any barriers that we haven't already done, you know, and I know that Hollywood is having trouble doing that, certainly now, giving us something new, but the creepy dance is the only thing that I remember. Her little weird is the only thing that I remember. The only thing that I even care to watch is that hallway sequence. It's like a 4 or 5 minute sequence. Best bits of the movie, and that's it. She's a little unsettling when she gets down on her fours and runs. That part did work a bit for me, but that's really about it. Not enough for me to put you in solid backups. Riding Pine. Art the Clown. Art the Clown is quickly establishing himself as a force. We have the third movie getting ready to come out, and if this movie is, as successful to that niche of fan as the first two, you're talking about one of the best horror trilogies of all time. Again, for those fans. If it's not your bag, that's fine, but you cannot discredit what the character's doing, what they're doing with these movies. They are a hit to those people. They love them. So I'm going to put him in the Hall of Fame tier. I'm going to put him down at the bottom for now. He is definitely somebody that could, end up in that top 5, top 10 by the end of his run. But right now, he's a very niche kind of guy, but we'll see what they do with his character moving forward. Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill is the secondary protagonist in Silence of the Lambs, and I think that he's way creepier than Hannibal Lecter. Just from a, I wouldn't want to be in the same room with him kind of way. Is he as much of a threat? Certainly not mentally, so Hannibal Lecter is certainly much more of a force of nature, if you want to put it that way, but there's just something really, really, really creepy about Buffalo Bill and his whole deal. And if you've never seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. You should definitely watch it. It works. He's a solid backup. He's a solid backup. Put him above the Nun, right behind Patrick Bateman. That feels right. Certainly, I don't want to see him multiple times. He works as a one-off kind of person, but memorable, creepy, very well done. Victor Crowley, played by the great Kane Hodder in his first appearance on this list, but not his only appearance on this list. If you have not seen any of the Hatchet movies and you are a fan of, schlocky kind of horror that doesn't really have a story, but will deliver, on some gore, on some kills, these movies are perfect for you. I had a blast. Are they great? No, they're not great movies, but they feature a lot of really good horror cameos, callbacks, moments where you're going to go, aha! And they also, again, they're a lot of fun. They're short, mercifully short. They don't go on for, 90, 100, 110 minutes. I mean, they're mostly 75, 80-minute movies. They're pretty quick. The pacing is quick, but you're going to get 3 or 4 decent kills, sometimes more, as they go on. He definitely dispatches a lot more people, but they're fun. So I'm going to put him in solid backup. Again, really, really, you know what? Kirk Cousins tier. Kirk Cousins, you just saw it here first. I was about to put him in solid backups. I'm going to put him in the Kirk Cousins tier. I think that He's in, I think, 4 movies. I believe there's 3 Hatchet movies and the Victor Crowley movie. And I liked all 4 of them to some degree. Are they great? No. But I watched 4 movies with this guy in it, and I didn't hate it. So I have to give him some love. Kirk Cousins tier. That feels right. Carrie is, I don't want to say the original, like, sympathetic victim killer, but she's certainly one of the most memorable. This is one of the first characters that did terrible things that, to me felt justified. I didn't feel super bad for all those people. I mean, in hindsight, you definitely should have, because most of them were innocent, but it was very satisfying to watch her get her revenge after sitting through 90 minutes of watching the character just get absolutely shit on. So this is one of the great, like, cathartic moments in movies, is watching her get her revenge, and I have to put her in the Hall of Fame simply because she only had 1 appearance, but I'll be damned if it wasn't memorable. How about right above? Yeah, right above Jigsaw. Carrie, she is iconic. This still shot alone is iconic. So she gets, a bump up in the Hall of Fame tier list. Absolutely beautiful. Was it Johnny? Johnny from In a Violent Nature. I just watched this movie at work, and pretty much everything that anybody said about it, at least for me, was true. You have the 1 decent kill, just a lot of walking, man. It's just a lot of walking, and he must have been walking his ass to the end of the bench, because that's where he's going to end up, rotting pine. I love that we keep going from bad stuff to good stuff, because we go from Johnny to Leslie Vernon, and I just did a review of this movie with my good friend Mitch from Primetime Mitch. I will tag him in the comments below, but go check out his stuff. Absolutely beautiful content, amazing content over there. But he and I had a wonderful discussion about this movie, about this character. It is meta goodness. He is absolutely, for me, I wish I could put him in the GOAT. He's not a GOAT, but he is going in the Hall of Fame. You know what? I'm going to put him, personally, just for me, right above Carrie. Love Leslie Vernon, love the character, love the movie. I think that feels good for me. He's in the Hall of Fame, and we're starting to get down to the nitty gritty now. So let's rock and roll. Let's see if we can do some rapid fires. Ben Willis, I believe it was, the Hook Man from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Bro, you get bested by some of the dumbest freaking kids in movie history. Unfortunately, you do take a couple of them down with you. So I have to give you a little bit of credit. How about the top of the rotting pine, bro? I'm not calling you in even as a backup, but you do get a couple kills. Mr. Babadook. I don't really understand the love of this movie. I think that, some of the performances in the movie are pretty solid. Mr. Babadook doesn't do it for me. Doesn't do it for me. I'll give you a little bit of respect, put you right above Mr. Ben Willis, but you're riding pine for me, Mr. Babadook. I'm sorry. The Creeper. The Creeper, and this is one where you have to try to separate the art from the artist. I don't like the story that goes with this character and his creator, but the movie, the first Jeepers Creepers, is one of the scariest horror experiences that I remember having in a theater. I left the theater, I definitely felt uneasy, I definitely felt a little scared. So I have to give him some sort of love for that, right? So is he a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I'm gonna put him right at the top. I'm gonna kick off the Leprechaun from the top of the B team. We're gonna let the Creeper be the top of the B team. So I'm okay with that. I think that the very first movie is really, really, really good. The second one is decent, and then from there, we better not even talk about him. But that feels okay. What about Frederick Krueger. If you know me, you've been watching this channel, you've seen any of my rankings of horror characters, you know that he is, for me, probably the #1 guy. I think that he is the funniest, scariest character that has ever been put on film. So he is easily going to be the first member of our GOAT tier. So next, Hannibal Lecter. This is one of the greatest horror performances of all time. I mean, is Silence of the Lambs horror more suspense than anything, but this guy eats people's faces off, so he has to get some sort of credit for that. You know what? You know what? I'm not going to put you in the Hall of Fame tier. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. How about right after Carrie? Yeah, I like that. Right after Carrie. All right, Michael Myers. Do you need me to elaborate on why my man needs his spot up here? I don't really think I do. I mean, you guys knew that was coming. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Big Michael Myers fan. I could do this and I'd be happy with it. I think that the fact that Freddy again can give you some sweet one-liners and then scare you in the same sentence gives him a little bit of a nod. So Jack. This is my favorite performance of his. Easily a Hall of Famer. Let's go ahead and put him right above Leslie Vernon. Yeah, that feels good. I'd feel pretty disrespectful putting him anywhere else. So put him there. One of the greatest, creepiest, serial killers. I think does he only kill the one person in the movie? I think he only kills the one person, but he is still incredibly unsettling. The scene where he's chasing his son with the axe, terrifying. This movie works on so many levels. Kubrick is a mastermind, so I have to put him in the Hall of Fame tier. Chucky, another guy that he's not a GOAT, but he's got to be a Hall of Famer. He's gotta be a Hall of Famer. Let's put him up here. Yeah, I like that. Again, another guy that's gonna make me laugh. Brad Dourif, iconic. They're still making Chucky content. So if you're talking about longevity, you got to give them some love there. And it's also one continuous continuity. Most of these other characters, I'm looking at you, Mike, have rebooted themselves so many times that we've kind of lost track of where we're supposed to be. But Chucky, somehow, even though he's faked reboots a couple times, it's the same timeline, the same character. Tiffany's still around, Glenda's still around. We're referencing these characters even in the TV show. So as long as Don Mancini is involved, I'm on board for pretty much whatever Chucky content they want to give us. Sam from Trick or Treat. You've probably never seen this movie. If you're a big horror fan, maybe you have seen this movie. This little bastard doesn't do much in the movie, but he's adorable. I love him. Let's go ahead and give him a tiny little bit of love. He doesn't do much. How about this, Sam? We're going to put you right here with a couple of our other super iconic cult classic characters. I love it. And you know what? If he has to come in, he proved that if he has to step up, he can handle business. So I'm not going to spoil the movie. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's become a yearly watch for me on Halloween. I love Trick or Treat. It's a great movie. All right, here we have Big Jason Voorhees. Riding Pine. Yeah, right. Come on, guys. Come on. Of course, he is going to be the third member of our GOAT tier. We have the big three. I mean, I was born in the 80s. If you thought that anybody other than these three were going to make it to the top, you haven't been paying attention. Candyman. Candyman could easily be the fourth member. If there was 5 members, he would probably be right there. So we're going to put him right here at the top of the Hall of Fame class. I love Tony Todd. I love this character. I think that this first movie is criminally underrated, and it's still getting praise, but I still think that it is underrated. I love this movie. There's not too many films that make me feel this kind of way when it ends. You just don't feel happy. I mean, nobody really gets a happy ending. Helen doesn't get a happy ending. Candyman doesn't. Nobody gets a happy ending. Nothing works out well, other than, you know, maybe the mom or got her baby back. But anyway, just a really depressing but effective, beautiful movie. Great movie. Pumpkinhead. Okay, take everything that I just said and flip it. Pumpkinhead is brainless. It has nothing to say, and I somehow still really dig it. It does tackle the theme of loss. I mean, the movie is about, the first one is about a father who loses his son and wants revenge. So that is a pretty heavy topic, but the problem is the movie doesn't really ask any difficult questions outside of, you know, I guess how far is too far. And really, by the time the movie starts to examine anything even remotely relating a plot or, you know, deep feelings, the movie ends. It's over fast. You get to the climax, it's over. So I think they could have done more with this movie, but for now, Pumpkinhead's just a solid backup. Let's put him right ahead of Buffalo Bill. I've watched all of the other Pumpkinhead movies, and if you haven't, I'll save you the time. Save your time. The second one, laughably bad, and the other two aren't much better. So really, the original is the only one that I've even remotely enjoyed. So solid backup. I have to mention Pumpkinhead. Came out right around the time I was born, so definitely a key movie for me. Oh, here we go, Esther. The Orphan. Where do we put her? Because this is another movie where if you haven't seen the twist, the first watch is super effective. And then after that, the movie definitely loses a little bit of its rewatchability. They made a sequel. It's okay. It's fine. You know what? Solid backup. I'll even give her the nod because I think that the movie, again, for the first watch, works really well. So, yeah, I'm good with that. Leatherface. We're done with the Hall of Fame with the GOATs. We've got Freddy, we've got Michael, we've got Jason, we've got Leatherface. That is my Mount Rushmore. I think that these 4 guys changed the game. They came in, and there's a scene in Leslie Vernon where one of the characters mentions that, you know, before these guys, you know, the characters would show up and they'd disappear, but these 4 kept coming back almost like a curse, like a legacy. And that's what they have, is they have a legacy. These 4 guys have franchises that any one of us would gladly probably welcome another movie. No matter how many bad, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies or Friday the 13th movies or Nightmare on Elm Street movies they release, we want more because when it's good, it's the best. So I think that these 4 easily deserve their spots in the GOAT tier. Jean Jacket from Nope. I really enjoyed this movie. Jordan Peele is certainly establishing himself as one of the best horror directors of the new age, and I think that this is my favorite, probably, of his movies. Certainly not a Hall of Famer, certainly not a GOAT. I can't even put it in Kirk Cousins, but you know what? Really solid backup. I'll put you above Pumpkinhead because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful design. I love that they took the inspiration from, you know, jellyfish and how they open up. Really cool. Also incredibly unsettling. The scene where Jean Jacket sucks up all of those people and you slowly watch them get digested. Again, not too many scenes where I felt that uneasy. So, very effective. It's a very effective scene. The Miner from My Bloody Valentine. The movies are guilty pleasures, but you're not memorable at all. Put you down here. You're riding pine. I'm sorry. Chef Julien from The Menu. Ralph Fiennes has one of those faces. I mean, it's Voldemort. He is very unsettling by himself. It's why Made in Manhattan didn't work. Can't make this man a romantic lead. But I'm gonna put him... How about solid backups right after Patrick Bateman? He gave me Patrick Bateman vibes, so I'm okay with that. I think that those two work pretty well together. So yeah, I'm happy with how this is turning out actually. Samara from The Ring. I'm not as big a fan of these movies as a lot of people, so it's a pretty easy spot for me. Just put her as a backup. You definitely don't want to mess with Samara. You watch her movie, you're toast, so just don't watch the movie. Annabelle. Again, I think that these characters that kind of showed up, they were better as one-offs. I do think that Annabelle is a little creepier than the Nun, so I will give her a little bit of love and give her a little bit of spot above the Nun. Dolls are inherently kind of creepy, so yeah. Solid backup, nothing more. Jack Frost from, again, this is a movie... certainly makes me laugh, probably not in the way that they intended. So this is an example of horror comedy and not working so well. So let's put him, you know, like right about there. Yeah. Dracula. Dracula is one of the goats, but there's no more room on the goat tier. So by default, we will put you in the Hall of Fame. We'll put you at the top of the Hall of Fame. I mean, you've been around for almost 100 years now, so yeah. Got to give respect to Dracula. We've had so many iterations of the character. This one is my favorite. This is the classic Universal version, the one that appeared in the, you know, Abbott and Costello videos that I absolutely love and adored watching as a kid. Finally, my last person that I want to discuss today is Pearl. Now, has she done enough to get into the Hall of Fame? I'm gonna say no, but I don't think that Pearl is done yet. We might still get some more movies. For now, let's put her right behind the Xenomorph. I think that feels good. I think that this character has room to grow, has room to potentially maybe, even over time, maybe just time to, you know, appreciate. She could go up into the Hall of Famer, but for now, I think that feels pretty good. So let's do a quick recap. But I feel pretty happy with where everybody kind of fell. But I mean, our goats are Michael, you know, Freddy, we got Jason, we got Leatherface. Hall of Fame tier, we got Dracula, Candyman, Ash Williams, we've got The Thing, we've got Norman Bates, Jack Torrance, Chucky, Leslie Vernon, Carrie White. We have got Hannibal Lecter. We got Jigsaw. Got Captain Spaulding. Man, I miss Captain Spaulding. We got Ghostface. Feels kind of weird having him all the way down here, but again, I think that they could have done more with the design. It's iconic. It's simple. There is beauty in simplicity, but it's almost like they didn't know what to do, so they kind of just did it again. Anyway, we got Reagan. We've got Pinhead. We've got Art the Clown. Really like that black and white aesthetic, don't we? It's very popular. But this guy could work his way up this list. This third movie coming out looks like it's going to be absolutely insane. So we'll see where it stands there. In the Kirk Cousins tier, again, these guys, don't feel bad that you're in the middle. This is okay. You guys could be Hall of Famers, maybe not. I don't know. But we've got the Creeper, we've got the Leprechaun, we've got Pennywise, we've got Bruce the Shark from Jaws, we've got the Xenomorph, we've got Pearl. Look at this face. How could you be terrified of this? But if you see this bitch coming, you better run. We've got Bagul from Sinister. We got Victor Crowley from the Hatchet movies, rounding out the Kirk Cousins tier. Again, if you haven't seen these movies, highly recommend them. They were a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching them. The solid backup tier, we've got The Orphan. This movie was a really good time. Probably should have just been a one and done. They made a sequel way too late. Sam from Trick or Treat. Love this little guy. Doesn't do much, but when he shows up, he shows up. I'd put him in. Angela, absolutely put her in if I needed a big play. Patrick Bateman, fuck yeah. Chef Julian, yes. Jean Jacket, look at this still. Beautiful shot. Exact opposite here. But Pumpkinhead, for me, was iconic. We got Buffalo Bill. This man was a legend. You can't see her. She's behind my chair. Annabelle here. We've got the Nun here. We've got the Predator here. Coming back over, Mrs. Voorhees. Sure, if Jason's not around, I'll take her. Mrs. Wilkins. Annie Wilkins from Misery. I just thought about that scene for a minute. Gave me the shivers. Absolutely. She could come in. She could kneecap somebody. Samara. She's going to have her tape ready. She's going to hurt somebody. Definitely a solid backup. And then riding the pine, we've got the miner from My Bloody Valentine. We've got Mr. Babadook. Sorry, bro, you don't do it for me. We've got Ben Willis, Mr. Hookman. We've got Cujo. I don't want to see a dog die. You're at the very bottom. We've got Annabelle, Anna Threebell. It's okay. It's just okay. Got Jack Frost. This is horror comedy gone wrong for me. We've got Johnny from In a Violent Nature. Damn near the bottom. Again, the only thing, I just don't want a dog villain. I don't want to root against a dog. Other than that, the villain movie is pretty good. But this is my tier list. Again, I didn't pick these characters for any reason other than I thought that they were interesting and I wanted to talk about them. So if you want to do my exact tier list, here are all of the characters. Take a quick look. And if you want to try to rank yours, show me where yours would be different. But I think there's like 40 some. It's not quite 50. But this is a pretty big list, and it's tough to put some of these, people that I love dearly, down in the solid backups. But that's why I try not to be super disrespectful. The only ones that I really don't want on my team are down here at the bottom. Everybody else, more often than not, I'm gonna give you a chance. But that's my list. If you guys enjoy these tier lists, let me know, like the video. I will do more tier lists. I usually like to do the ranking videos. They're a little bit more easy to pick apart because there are definitive rankings that you guys can tell me how stupid I am for, which is fine. Conversations, discussions, whatever kind of comment you want to leave, I welcome it. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be good people, be good to each other. If you go out this weekend, be safe, have fun, and we'll catch you next time.